Hi, kapun piece here. The fact is we're nothing but mutated, evolved, crazy primates that create God with our brains. We are nothing more than an accident. Life on the planet Earth is called emergence. All this bunch of things happen together by accident. Here's the truth.
Today, we know that elements make up not just life, but also everything in the universe. All the elements, including ones essential
to life, the early atheists,
clouds of debris left over from dying stars billions of years ago.
Everything that exists is made of the same basic stuff. And this unification of the chemistry of the humans and what happens here on Earth with the rest of the universe brought us much closer to the rest of the universe than we thought possible before.
So how do we get from elements and compounds to a unit of living matter, something called a cell?
So a cell is the fundamental unit of life. It used to be, a long time ago, thought of as just a sack of enzymes. However, really more recent structural biology work is showing
we learn every day through science
system
that can only be produced in an atheist, mentally healthy brain that understands it.
Yes, retarded, faith, psychosis, people. We are composed of cells with little crawly little things inside with the little tiny brain.
Scientists believe that the laws of the universe and raw materials like elements have together created life. How is it possible? Uncommon throughout the universe called emergence. It helps explain how from the dust and debris of space come stars, solar systems, and galaxies.
Exactly.
How from the chaos of raw ingredients like elements and compounds come highly organized structures like planets and suns, and just maybe life itself.
Exactly. There you go.
Emergence is the appearance of something more than you would have expected just by putting individual parts together. Something greater than the sum of the parts does emerge and become something more, we say, interesting. Practically interesting.
Emergence can be found virtually anywhere, high up in the sky.
And ignorant people say intelligent designer when they can understand this thing.
Turning and swooping with choreographed precision.
And from all that emergence, we create conscious, which is a bunch of cells right here in the brain, creating thinking. And when they are retarded and stupid and ignorant and deluded, then they believe in God.
Because it occurs with sand grains on a local scale like this, but it also occurs with molecules, which is the process that must have led to the origin of life.
The key of life, emergence, people.
To me, the best example of emergence is consciousness. If you think of how the brain works, it's all a collection of about 100 trillion neurons. If you look at a neuron alone, you're not going to understand intelligence or consciousness. So, and when they do MRIs of the brain, they see clusters of neurons firing together, like that. And out of the dance of neurons, you get to consciousness. That's an emergent phenomenon.
Exactly.
And when the emergence of fairy tales and deluded concepts and psychosis come together, then you have religious belief.
Emergence, but instead, the result. Life may be the most complex example of emergence in the universe.
The fact that we face psychosis will never understand this. Never.
We need to remember that for roughly 80% of the 3.5 billion years that life has been on Earth, there are only single-celled organisms.
Exactly. The evidence is there.
But microbial life, these microbes, pond scum, that was the dominant form of life on this planet for 85% of the history of life.
These single-celled creatures, an amoeba for example,
85%.
are amazing little factories capable of eating, keeping out enemy invaders, and reproducing.
And we are composed of microbes, all of our body,
amoeba.
cells.
We are composed of trillions of bacteria, and cells and everything, and they are trying to kill us all the time. And they will win after we die. There is no God. I have tons of them in my gold tooth.
Remarkable things about modern science is the introduction of methods and tools that take us beyond our five senses.
Yeah.
And the telescope
Very
is
true.
remarkable exercise.
Dr. Tyson is amazing. This man is brilliant.
To the large. Go in the other direction,
and of course,
the microscope.
He's an atheist. He's mentally healthy.
Things smaller than your eyes can see. There's a whole universe of creatures that live smaller than your eyes can see. Among them are things that can kill you. So, the microscope was no less an achievement than the telescope. The two of them are I would say, the greatest extensions of human senses there ever were, and may ever be.
To replicate, single-celled organisms use the mechanism of DNA, the blueprints for building a cell. DNA in the nucleus unravels. Then each strand combines with a new partner, after which the cell splits into, voila, two identical daughter cells, where there was once just a parent cell.
No God needed.
Is the name of the game.
Intelligent design or nonsense.
Maybe other proto-cells out there competing for the same resources you want. If you learn how to replicate yourself,
the evolution and the mutations with DNA proves it.
Only the copies are not always perfectly identical.
Right, on mutations.
There might be some slight variation. And variation is good.
Yep.
Very good.
Yep.
Evolution works with best. And so if you have a lot of variability, not all of those can survive. There's always more individuals than the environment will support.
Produced great varieties of vastly different
truth hurts, but
organisms.
Hey.
About 3.5 billion years ago, life started.
Yep.
Now,
Not 6,000 years
billion and a half years passed until an amoeba showed up.
Yep.
Mankind had to acquire an understanding of how the world really works.
2,400 years ago, there was a phase psychosis person named Aristotle, believing God, believing that everything was a spontaneous generation and life. And this was accepted until the 1700s, 1800s, because of Christ-psychosis. They are retarded.
Nature of life is Aristotle, the man who gave us an early concept of the elements back in the 4th century BC.
Aristotle really understood that plants and animals were so intricately put together that you had to consider them as organized wholes. Each piece was very much directed toward...
The problem with Aristotle, he believed in God, so that was a problem with him.
The whole system. And to him, that was an obvious and striking difference between living matter and non-living matter.
It was not like Epicurus, that was a true scientist.
Any old which way.
True atheist.
Aristotle believes in spontaneous generation, that the heat of the sun and the element ether could spontaneously generate life from non-living material.
Just like a stupid Christians believe today, that everything was stopping to existence.
Stores of grain, for instance.
For Aristotle, it had to be only the kind of heat that was being supplied by the sun or some other heavenly body made out of this non-earthly
by God,
material.
The sun God. Exactly.
Spontaneous generation persists for a shockingly long time.
Yeah, that's the Christianity.
Years, in fact.
I always liked the spontaneous generation concept. Right? Some dirty rags, some wheat. Look the other way, look back, and mice crawl out. That's kind of fun.
Well, Christians believe that shit today.
That concept hung on for so long.
Because of Christianity.
Because a simple test could have verified that mice do not spontaneously generate themselves out of
Christian stupidity
and wheat.
Stagnation of the intellect.
Not until the late 17th century.
Imagine.
In the wake of Revelation.
17th century. It took this long.
Leeuwenhoek. What was the specific mechanism that turned non-living chemistry into living biology? Even before that question could be asked, some creature had to evolve into a human being and conceive it. Ultimately, it will use its brain to try and solve a puzzle no living creature has ever solved. This creature will now try to decide
and the only
how
people that can understand that is a healthy brain and
aging pieces. For now, there are only hypotheses of exactly how and where the chemical became the biological. What proof?
Yep.
Glorious proof.
No God needed.
Physics and the rules of chemistry. And a greater wonder on Earth than the ability of non-living things to transform wondrously into living, breathing, thinking life.
So you still believe in God or intelligent designer in this 21st century? You're psychotic and deluded and retarded. Pace di oro.